Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you are doing great. I want to bring you a story about natural gas. The prices, they are absolutely exploding, but they're very, very interesting key time points that we want to bring up, and they're in this, or a time point, okay? Because I want you again to realize that there's nothing new under the sun. These economic cycles happen every 7 to 10 years, depending on Fed monetary policy or the ECB monetary policy or Russia and China's monetary policy, okay? But they do always happen within 7 to 10 years. We have a good size recession. But on top of that, we also have 50-year and 100-year cycles. I say this all the time, but for everybody that's new, I've got to repeat myself. Sorry. Also, guys, I'm going to put in the link below a podcast that I can literally only make on podcast. It will be shut down so fast your head will spin, and it has to do with homeless union, a homeless union, a union for homeless people. I'm gonna put the podcast down below. Go check that out. I think it is very, very insightful and will open your eyes to literally how scary times are getting. All right, so here we go. This article is out of CNBC, and it's entitled "Natural Gas Hits Its Highest Level Since 2008, on pace for the best month ever as Russia cuts supply." Okay, now that's the narrative, Russia cutting supply. But I want you to remember, this is the highest level it's been since 2008, which means that we can actually go much, much higher because we have so much more geopolitical risk and threats threatening the supply of natural gas on top of what happened in 2008. We'll talk about that in a second. So I'm just going to touch on a couple points. Natural gas prices are surging around the world as scorching temperatures stoke demand for the fuel, and as Europe's push to move away from Russian fuels royal global energy markets. Now, first, I want to point out where it says that natural gas prices are surging because of high heat right around the country. That happens every single year, okay? We have these fundamental changes, these fundamentals in natural gas and energy prices that happen both in really hot temperatures and really cold temperatures, right? You're either cooling off your house or you're heating up your house, right? That's just how it is. It's just like gasoline saying, oh man, record highs this summer because of demand. Well, every year you have the same demand, all right? Unless you're in a depression or a really deep recession, you always have demand during the summer because people are vacationing, okay? That's how the media sort of wants to get you with these keywords. But there's, again, nothing new under the sun. These cycles happen every year, every 7 years, every 50, and so on, all right? Now it says U.S. natural gas futures surged more than 11% at one point on Tuesday, in one day, to $9.75 per million BTUs, British thermal units. That's the highest level since July of 2008. Now, I want to bring you back to July of 2008. Very, very important time point. Now, first off, there wasn't this crazy war breaking out between, a large power wanting to control another country at that point, right? That wasn't their narrative back then. But we were embroiled in a recession. We were already starting the Great Recession. We had mortgage-backed securities popping off. We had problems in Europe as well back then. And July was a very important time point in 2008 because we just seen Bear Stearns collapse a few months prior in the spring. And there was already rumors on Wall Street about the possibility of some banks failing on Wall Street. And in 2008 July is also when gasoline hit its all-time high. And I live in a county in California, actually currently, I don't know if it has the highest price right now. It usually is, but it was also the highest priced gasoline in the country back then in July. And that is when you saw the majority of the news hitting the mainstream. It's funny, I did a whole video on this because there were people that didn't believe it, where truckers were pulling over on the side of the road and saying, we're literally not going to drive. We can't haul these goods because we can't make enough money based on the contracts they'd set up. They didn't think the fuel was going to surge that much. Well, back then, natural gas was surging as well. And it's called demand destruction, essentially, because you've heard this before. The root or the solution for higher prices is indeed higher prices. And that is exactly what happened back in July of 2008. And what happened is we saw this deflationary wave start because people stopped spending as much money because they couldn't pay their bills. And then it just completely fell apart, right? That is what is happening right now. However, right now we have more stimulus injecting into the economy, in not the way you think. It's not going into your pockets. It's going into, like, let's say, Federal Reserve or other central banks around the world buying up assets and hiding them, all right? So that the velocity of money is staying at bay. The problem is this can only last so long. All right. Now I know I've gotten off on a tangent on natural gas, but I want to explain just some basic fundamentals, right, of what's going on right now. Okay, and I think that's why it's so important that we look at those, because then once you understand the backbone, the basics of how this stuff works, you go, this is sort of easy to figure out the future, which isn't good for everybody else, but it's great for Ninja Nation. Sorry if the camera's shaking. My mouse is on a tiny little table in here. So it says natural gas is now at more than 77% for the month. You want to talk inflation moving into hyperinflation? Remember I told you there's going to be transitory hyperinflation, and we've already started that right now. You're really going to see that by the fall. So that's putting it mildly. Putting it on track for the best month going back to the contract's inception in 1990. All right. So on a monthly basis, you've just seen natural gas blow away its previous highs, right? Its increases. That's just impressive. I'm going to close on that. I don't need to read the rest of it, but I want to understand or emphasize the facts of this. Right now, you're seeing a lot of these 40-year numbers. Inflation we haven't seen inflation like this since the last 40 years. Right now we haven't seen natural gas hit these prices since 2008. Well, what happened in 2008? We started the Great Recession, right? Officially, right? And you're about to find out any day now that the federal government is going to say, oh, we're in a recession. They're really not going to, because the White House has got some really fancy way of just changing the goalpost. It's impressive. I got to be honest with you. To be honest with you, it makes me sick to my stomach that they'll just lie to the public. But that's why you're here. That's why you're part of Ninja Nation. You're getting prepared. You're not scared. You see the opportunities coming. I don't want the opportunities being picked up by BlackRock, by all these pension funds, the elite. I want the opportunities to go to you. I want you buying up everybody's homes. To all the people that rolled their eyes at you, cool. You're going to buy their houses. But you're not going to have to buy them from them. It's not going to be awkward. You're going to buy it from the bank. The bank will take it from them. You're going to be at the auction house. You're going to be at the courthouse steps, or you're going to be going through your realtor to go through the long list of foreclosures, right? I want you, regular, normal, amazing, open-minded, loving human beings, to be a part of this amazing opportunity that's coming. And quite frankly, these kind of stories underpin just how fast this is going to happen, because like I talked about the other day, I did a video on how AT&T was shocked at how many people are now behind on their phone bills. That's impressive, because that's one of those things that you would think that people wouldn't fall behind on. But right now they're falling behind on their phone bills at an alarming rate. That's quite impressive. And I think there's going to be a lot of news that comes out pretty soon that's going to blow our minds. You could be prepared as much as you think you are and know that we're going to move into hyperinflation, but it's one thing to talk about it and speculate on it. It's another thing to actually see it in real time. It's one thing to read about it from the history books. It's another thing to feel it, to see it. It is going to be nutty. Guys, get ready. Get out of debt. Secure a solid credit score if you don't have one right now. Diversify out of the US dollar and other fiat currencies, like with gold and silver. That's not financial advice. That's what I'm doing. That's what wealthy people are doing. I hang out with wealthy people. I hang out with very smart people. Why? Because I'm not the smartest and I'm not the wealthiest, but I want to be smarter and wealthier. So I hang out with those people to sharpen my skill set. Iron sharpens iron, but sometimes you got to get around stronger iron, if you know what I mean. All right, guys, that being said, I thank you so much. I'm going to link this story below. And with that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.